I arrived at Pier 7 just outside Baltimore at 9:30 in the morning. Even before I passed through the gate, I could see the thing on the water at the Barnard Industries private dock. It was one of those big flying hotels the uptown crowd called China Clippers, equipped with staterooms, lounges, dining room, observation decks, the biggest planes ever built. And this one was even bigger, more sleek, more modern, more powerful, more extravagant, just like its designer and builder, Bronson Barnard. I knew Bronson in 1917. The Great War, we called it then. We enlisted in the Lafayette Escadrille, flew battered Nieuports over France, blasting German Fokkers out of the sky and saluting them as they went down. I was pretty good at it. Bronson wasn't quite as good, but like everything he does, he was flamboyant. Except that day a German ace got him in his gun sights. The crowd swooped out of the sun, unloading a belt from his wing gun. Bronson tried desperately to get out of range, but the Hun stuck to his tail like gum on a new shoe. I could see my pal was finished if I didn't do something. I yelled, "Keep away from him, Bronson! I'll take care of it!" I did a triple roll around the German's triplane and came up under him, spitting lead from my forward machine gun. The bewildered crowd must have heard his tail ripped with bullets because he let go of Bronson and did a right wing over to get out of my sights. But I figured he'd do that. And I finished an Immelman before he got level. I unloaded another volley into his right side, and it was all over. The Fokker went down, splintering into kindling on some French farmyard. Bronson had seen it all and threw me a thankful salute. But he never mentioned the incident again. I supposed it festered in him, but I don't know. After the war, our lives drifted apart. He apparently kept track of me, through my days as a New York cop, with the feds chasing Capone, right up to now. Even though my career was currently a string of divorce stakeouts and runaway husbands. But I never heard from Bronson until the invitation arrived for the maiden flight of his Condor. He must have known that I, like the other guests I found on board, couldn't resist a decadently luxurious free trip to Europe on the most advanced piece of aeronautical hardware yet devised. Besides, I hadn't been to Lisbon lately. After the 11 other guests were seated in the comfortable reclining seats in the main lounge, the Condor began its takeoff. The 6 twin cyclone radial engines roared to life, kicking up a vortex of sea spray as the huge bird moved away from the mooring. It lumbered across the bay, trailing a broad wake. Then the pitch of the engines rose, and the Condor leaped ahead, gaining momentum. Straining to lift its broad keel out of the water, the flying boat finally rose gracefully into the evening sky above Chesapeake Bay. And as the steward passed the finest champagne around to all the passengers, our host, Bronson Barnard, welcomed us all aboard.
Thank you all. This magnificent aircraft, which I call the Condor, will be cruising at 190 miles an hour. We will make the flight across the Atlantic in less than 24 hours. The steward is passing out a list of the passengers, just so we'll all know each other. Yes, some of you know each other, and others know of each other. In fact, all of you are connected, shall we say involved with each other?
But Bronson, why?
That, my old acquaintance, is my secret. But I promise you this. By the time we reach Lisbon, you and I will know everything. So, until we reach Portugal, salute. My greatest achievement, Peters. The forerunner of an entire fleet of condors, which will span the globe in hours. It took considerable genius, led by my own, to master the intricacies of such a craft.
Engineering, finance, politics. It seems you dominate whatever enterprise you put your mind to.
Oh, yes, Miss Simmons. All fields of human endeavor fascinate me. I master them all.
Including underworld corruption and international espionage, or so I hear.
It is due only to the fact that you saved my life on more than one occasion during the war that I allow such comments, Peters.
You used to call me Ned when we were chasing Krauts in France.
Once. Yes, once. But while your life since has been one of struggle, fleeting success, and ultimate banality, I have accomplished one miraculous feat after another, culminating in this magnificent aircraft.
Bronson, what is it?
Steward! Yes, sir. Oh, what's happened?
Mr. Barnard is ill. Help me get him to his stateroom.
What is it, a heart attack?
I don't know. I'll tend to him. You tell the pilot to turn around and get this flying hotel back to Baltimore double quick.
Yes, sir.
Bronson, can you hear me?
Ned, help me.
Yes, Bronson. We're heading back to Baltimore.
No, too soon.
What do you mean?
Ned, I need the 24 hours to solve a murder.
A murder? Isn't that a little more in my line than yours?
I wanted to prove I was as good as you. Had to make up for being saved in France.
Bronson, you've brooded about that since then?
Listen, someone on board is a murderer. They killed a customs agent named Gerald Weltner.
Weltner, I think I read about that in the papers.
A star witness in a congressional investigation into corruption in the U.S. Customs Department. Weltner was going to expose foreign agents and Americans who were bribing customs officials.
But how does that...
June 22nd, about 9:30 p.m., Weltner was found sprawled across the ottoman in his townhouse. $10,000 in crisp new bills were on the floor. He was poisoned.
But what's that got to do with the Condor?
A challenge. A 24-hour trip to find the murderers and get the proof.
But why me? I had nothing to do with Weltner's death.
Just to show you I could do it. But now, I need you.
How?
Get the evidence. Expose the killer before the plane touches down.
But we're headed back to Baltimore. We'll be there in 30 minutes at the most.
Then hurry. Now that they all know that I'm onto them, you can never get them together again. Play them against each other. You'll get the truth.
But how did you find out all this?
Weltner was my son.
But I thought you never married.
Illegitimate. The product of a brief fling I had with a chorus girl. I watched over him. Got him the position at the Customs Department. Before he died, he managed to phone me.
What did he say?
He rattled off a list of names. But he was out of his head from the poison. Talked as if all of them killed him. The police had no lead, so I arranged this fight to catch the killer.
Bronson, this is crazy.
No, listen. There's a reporter on board, Vera Simmons. She can help you. She's been following the congressional hearings, and there's my notebook.
Notebook?
My detective's notebook. In my nightstand. It has all the information on all of them. May help.
But who do you suspect, Bronson?
Get the evidence, Ned.
Bronson, who is it? Who is the murderer?
Is he dead?
No, he's still breathing, but he's no good for the rest of the flight.
What do we do, sir?
You tell the captain to get this bucket back to Baltimore as fast as he can. As for me, I've got 30 minutes to find a murderer.